Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first podcast that we have today. My name is Anthony Marshall, and I'm with
Brian Marshall, his brother.
And Aaron Marshall, a good...
Aaron Marshall.
Nah. What's up, everybody? My name is Aaron Jackson. Welcome to the podcast.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
a good friend.
Might as well say he's family. So.
Yeah, you pretty much are family at this point now.
For sure. I think I'm going to stay at Jackson now, so...
I feel that.
One of the
I
Jackson
feel
5.
that.
Let's keep it moving.
Jackson 5. I don't know if you want to be a part of that one.
I mean, Brian, you could be Michael if you want to.
Nah, I'm good. You got a brother named Joe.
Exactly. We are the Jackson 5. It's lit.
Well, so this first episode, we're pretty much going to give introductions to each other. And the first thing I want to talk about is myself, of course, so they can get a good idea of what we're going to be saying. My name is Anthony Marshall, of course. I'm an entrepreneur, also a content creator. I do a lot of film photography and journalism. On the side, once in a while, I might actually do something in the financial market, such as trading. And that's pretty much everything on my end. So, like, Brian, what is it that you do so that our audience can know what's up?
I don't do a whole lot, man. I guess somewhere along the lines of a fitness guru, personal trainer. I'm going to hook y'all up with meal plans, chest workouts, leg workouts. Summertime's coming, so it's time to tighten up, boys and ladies.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. What about you, Aaron?
I'm just living life like it's golden. Right now, I'm currently just serving at Old Charlie's, but you could call me some sort of a pop culture enthusiast, I guess you could say. Movies, music, TV, anything going on. I want to know about it, so I keep y'all posting on what's going on in the world, whether it's Donald Trump or Chris Brown. We can talk about it.
Yeah, see, I feel that. And, it's funny when you talk about pop culture because, like, that's mainly what our podcast is going to be about. It's pop culture, everything within the media. It can be, like, politicians, sports, entertainment, all varieties of things. But we're mainly going to be talking about how our opinion is going to be about it. So, okay, Brian, you looking goofy over there. What's up, man?
I'm not going to lie. I almost knocked the mic over. It's our first podcast. I done got nervous and I almost knocked the mic over.
Nah, man.
Took a baseball bat to the microphone. That's crazy to me.
Oh, gosh.
First podcast. Already being destructive with your strong self.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, it's the first time. You got to get used to everything anyways. You're not going to get it right, just like you were saying earlier.
Yeah. Just looking forward to it, man. You get when you first do something, you got nerves and tensions build up. But, that's what I specialize in is putting the body under stress. So, I'm going to hook y'all up, give y'all what y'all want.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I feel that.
Well, Brian, let me ask you a question, man, and kind of move forward with what you're doing. What got you, into fitness to begin with, man? What kind of got you, off the couch and out of the gym? What's your motivation? What
I
drives
want to
you?
hear about that.
well, actually, to be honest with you, growing up, I was always the smallest person in every group. I would be the tallest person, but I would be the smallest person as far as skin and bones that everybody I would hang out with. I played sports just like everybody else did, but I never liked working out and I never wanted to do it. I always tried to skip that portion of it, and it just didn't seem fun to me, and I was, I guess I was taking shortcuts. And then I gave up on it after my knees were having an issue with my knees, with my joints and things, turning to find out that actually what it was is I would go to the doctor and find out that I would have no structural damage, and he would either tell me that it's either because I'm stressed out, and I knew at that age, around 14, 15, 16, that I wasn't stressed out enough to have issues like that. It was what I was putting in my body. So once I changed my eating habits, actually as of right now, I don't have any knee pains. So all those joints and tendons have went away as far as pain-wise. Really what got me into it is there was a guy I work with down at the factory since we're in Kentucky, down in E-Town. And he motivated me. He asked me a couple questions. He said, "You got a nice body frame on you." He said, "I know you're taller and most bodybuilders and stuff are short." But he said, "You see how I look?" He said, "I want you to ask yourself when you close your eyes, what do you think a man is supposed to look like? And what is it that you imagine him doing and as far as characterizing himself?" He said, "You can look around and find a bunch of skinny or overweight people, but it's only a small handful of group of people that you see that are toned up and fit. once I start getting into it and taking the dieting serious, I learned that it was more than just looking good, because anybody that goes to the gym just to work out, far as the look, it's kind of weak to me, because I believe in looking good, yeah, to a certain extent, but I use the gym as a tool, as to help me to get through the next stage in life. You know, I want to win at life. You know what I'm saying?
That.
Like, if you got kids and they're struggling in a school subject, you know, helping them be able to pass that class and get over that, that's winning to me. Because in bodybuilding, I'm not hating any bodybuilder. I'm no bodybuilder, with that being said. But also, you know, you're getting on stage, getting judged by a bunch of dudes that don't even work out. Is that really winning?
Right.
You know what I mean? Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, really, it's just inspiring, because to be able to put the change in someone else's life, helping them accomplish their goal and whatever it is, and take time to get to know someone that shares some of the idea. I noticed that a lot of fitness people that are not stuck up, the ones that aren't, they got good things going for themselves. You know, they're not lazy. Their organization, you know, it starts with getting up and making your damn bed. You know, all the little things that we learn at home, all that stuff matters. So I think that once I got able to space out and find out who I really was and start going to the gym with an actual purpose, and not because of a sport or feeling forced and have to because everybody else made me uncomfortable with being small with my size, I think that's when I really started to grow, was to love myself and to have more self-confidence and to do it because I want to do it, not because of someone else.
Right.
When I go to the gym, I'm my own boss. Nobody tells me what to do. If anything, I tell someone else what to do. It's kind of like what my profession is kind of coming to be. So, you know, like I said, I'm going to hook y'all up, give y'all what y'all want. Let me know.
See, that goes right in the lines of entrepreneurship as well. And I like that, because a lot of times you don't always enjoy the job that you have, and you don't always enjoy, like, who you're at the moment, but you should always be appreciative of who you are all the time. But you feel like there's always some type of improvement that you can take on yourselves. And I like that, because, like, there are tons of times where I look at myself like, man, I need to get big myself. Like, I've been trying to go and hit up the gym myself, but, like, with my work, it kind of, like, counteracts all of the food I'll be putting into my body at the moment. But I'm going to be working on that eventually. But on my end, when it comes to entrepreneurship and stuff, like, I want a good job that I can actually enjoy myself. Like, that's why I do a lot of work into the things that I enjoy, such as with photography and in film and content creation. Journalism is something that I've always done myself as well. But to be able to have that chance to be able to do the things that you love to do in your life and improving yourself as a person, that's a great thing to have right there. And I really like how you went into detail about everything you've done up to that point to get to where you are now, because that's just your story right there. It's a good story to have for whenever somebody else is struggling, to know exactly what they need to do in their life. And, you know, we all gonna have our moments, and that can be for anything. It can be for, like, work, school, everyday life, relationships. Everyone has those moments where they're gonna be struggling with something, and to know that somebody else out there is having that similar type of structure and they are making it themselves, it motivates us as a person to be able to do much better too. And I really like how you said that, because there's probably plenty of people out there who are all like, man, you know, I'm not feeling very confident in my body, especially how things are now, because, you know, we look at all of these models and celebrities and all them, and they, in our minds, have like the perfect bod and all that. And, you know, we look at ourselves all down and thinking that we don't have that potential, but we really do. Like, all of us can get there at some point.
It's, you know, it's really, you know, once you get past the flesh part, because, like, one day we're going to leave the shell. This is just a small portion that this is not home for us. This is a small shell. And like I said, you know, I want to look good, don't get me wrong, but that's not the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, once you get past the look, like I said, it's weak to just focus on how you look and things, because when it comes down to what do you have to bring to the table, unless you're getting paid to look like that, unless you're going to a Mr. Olympia or something like that, then, you know, it's all about more people get paid off of the mindset than they do physically always. And that's just how it's always going to be. You know, you get paid for more brain work than you do hands-on. And like I said, what the gym does for people, what they don't understand is it develops discipline.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have discipline. Can you say no to a cheeseburger, an ice cream? Can you go 5 and 6 days? It's like a challenge yourself, just like any challenge you go through, an obstacle in life. Can you continue to keep and push through? Like, like it's just a challenge. And like I said, it's not for everyone.
Right.
But I encourage everyone to give it a try. Like, that's what it was really hard part for me. Once I was able to sit down, give it a try, and get introduced to it the right way, not by some maniac going there screaming and yelling in my ear.
For sure.
I went with a guy that, knew what he was doing and kind of told me his background. And it kind of motivated me a little bit just to give it a shot, and I branched off from working out. I still work out with him, but I branched off from working out with him where I got comfortable doing it on my own. And I've always worked out on and off time from time, but it's a lot of the small things that I'm going to be hooking y'all up with that nobody ever taught me, as far as the eating and the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it teaches you how to budget your money, because a lot of people are spending money on supplements, which is not really necessary. But with that being said, you have people that smoke cigarettes. So you think, what would you do with that extra money that you're not spending on cigarettes? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it teaches you how to balance out what you need to do for your day.
Yeah, for sure. And I got a question, I guess, that I could pose to both of y'all in the sense of kind of maybe like career paths. And I guess I'll preface it with, I had my stint in Orlando for in 2016, and how I had my little fitness stint too, and people would come to me and ask me questions about, how's Orlando treating you, or how did you go about doing it this way, or how did you go about getting in shape that way, or like as far as being like maybe in a sense of like an inspiration and having people come to you as far as maybe posing questions as opposed to seeing you as just that random guy on the street or that random guy in class. How do y'all feel that like it does? How do y'all feel it imposes a mental space when people come to you for advice or questions or see you in that like inspirational light? Does that feel? Is it like? Because I know for me it was kind of like a positive, like it was almost like a surprising but positive thing. It's like, wow, if I'm like just by living my everyday life, like it's cool to see that I'm inspiring people and that they're coming to me to answer their questions as far as how they could better improve their life. So I guess how does that impact y'all on the mental space is the question I want to ask.
Well, if you don't mind, I can answer a piece of that and I'll let you answer the second half. It keeps you on your toes. It makes you do your homework, because you never know when somebody's going to come up to you and ask you these things, and it's never, planned. So, you want to be able to give the most possible detailed answer you can to make them, it also gives you a boost of confidence. So, somebody admiring that you are putting the hard work in to do whatever it is. And by them keeping you, that should motivate you to keep going stronger and harder at whatever it is. So, like I said, it keeps you on your toes to do your homework. It's kind of like that push that you need when you feel like nobody's in your corner. Because when you're doing these things, you're not doing it to get praise. Mm-hmm. But because you are getting respected about it, it kind of keeps you motivated, because it's really hard at times. There's times that I don't want to get up and do things, but that's life. So, I'll let you take over.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, of course, whenever it comes to, getting motivated, everybody needs some type of motivation for something. And, it's an interesting concept for, like, anybody to even come up to you for advice. Because for me, like, I don't ever expect myself to be, like, that actual role model, but if you think about it, everyone at their point of life has always been, well, I don't know if I can be a role model, but they become one. Such as like our parents, our teachers, or, people who help us grow as individuals. Like, you never know when it's actually going to be your time to be able to teach somebody else. And it's a great opportunity to be able to have somebody to come up and teach you those same things while you going to be teaching them something else later down the line. Mm-hmm. And the cycle of life just continues on that way. And it's just how we all are as individuals. And, like, I look forward to, like, some of the things that may come up to me at some point. But as of right now, as an individual, like, I can't really picture myself as an actual role model. And telling people, well, if we get to those points to our lives where you're gonna have to teach somebody, I'm gonna have to cut some of that out because I'm repeating myself.
That's fine. But like I said, we have to learn that you are basically the guys that we like or that we look up to on TV or celebrities are like an advanced version of us because they're older. Some of them are older and they have more knowledge, so they've been through a couple more situations that we haven't been able to experience yet. Some of us won't experience them because of lack of money or popularity or whatever, but they go through similar situations as well, just more in an advanced way. And really what we're doing is because we can relate to them and we can have like a heart-to-heart moment without actually knowing them, we are able to figure out how to overstep them, like think ahead of them. We're trying to figure out what their next move is to be passing them up, because eventually we don't want to turn into them and be just like them, but we don't want to be, you know what I'm saying? We don't want to be just like them. So we're trying to be advanced. We're trying to figure out,
move forward.
How would they go about it? Because a lot of times you take advice from just like your parents or any role model in your family you look up to. You're like, if it's your dad or mom, you're the 2.0 version of them. You're the kids. Your parents always want you to do better than what they did and always not to make the same mistakes that they made. With that being said, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I feel like that's a very interesting point that you just made, being like the 2.0 of our parents and going along that mantra, because being 21, 22 and 23 across the table, I feel like we're entering that transition phase of kind of where we have our eyes on like the older generation as far as like how we want to live our lives and what we want to do and what we want to pursue. I feel like now we're in that transition phase where the eyes are starting to look towards us as opposed to being like role models, and you all having like a younger brother and me having like younger nieces and nephews. We kind of like, I feel like I kind of use that as like an extrinsic motivation to, okay, so now there are people, looking up to me to kind of see what I'm doing and maybe whether or not that's the lifestyle that they want to pursue. So I kind of, that always, having that in the back of my mind really makes me feel like I'm able to really keep an eye on what I'm doing and kind of who I surround myself with and the things that I want to put into my career path as far as leading a younger generation into a better future than maybe going down the wrong path. So.
Yeah, it's a list of things. It's a chain of command. It starts from the head, which would be the parents, and to the kids down. And if we have kids, the same thing. We pass down the teachings that what we feel works best for our kids and younger generations to figure out what works best for them only by the life experiences that we went to. Actually, I read a book about my girl I used to talk to and all that good stuff. She wants to
Hold on, Brian. Do you really want to be talking about all that in the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, man.
Okay, man.
No, that's fine.
Because I'm making a valid point about some of the research.
We can leave it raw and uncut. This is the first episode. So
yeah.
Let's let it flow.
I did decide just to keep it raw, but
she wanted to be she wanted to be a neuroscience and stuff. So what she did was, so we could relate in things, is to have more intellectual conversations. I went to try to read one of these books that she had, and she asked me to check this out. So basically, what it was talking about was the professor, as in a college classroom setting, he goes by the methods that he thinks works best of teaching whatever the subject is for the students. But nobody has actually taken the time to study and see what actually works best for the brain and consuming knowledge and being able, like, it was a section in the book in the very beginning where it talked about, you ever read a book or a page and don't remember what you read? Like you can read something, but like not attain the knowledge.
Right.
So like this book basically brought down the process of the way the mind works and breaking it down into steps of thinking. We go off instinct on what we think works best, but nobody has taken the time to actually look at what actually works as far as studying and the methods of how the brain works.
Right.
So I really liked the book, and we were able to talk about it because it's very detailed. And it was very interesting because it gave me a different viewpoint on the side of things, the perception of things, because I never looked at it and thought about it like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't get too into doing things by the book because, that's not how life works.
Exactly.
Because if everybody could plan everything out. But, if you're not sharpening your mind, if you're not using certain points of your brain, and you're only talking about one thing, you're becoming one-dimensional and you can't function in other settings.
Right.
With that being said, you're getting dumber in a sense, because when it's time to turn those things on, it's like a foreign language. And you need to be able to utilize everything at any given moment. If somebody puts you on spot, I would like to be the best prepared I think at any point in time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It was very uplifting, because it had me thinking. I was like, man, I was coming into the book thinking this is going to be boring. I'm only doing it because I feel like I'm forced to, but I really like the book. And because of that book, it has got me reading more, because it is very important, because even with women, they don't want to hear about how good you look. They want to hear about
themselves. Like you gotta more talk about them.
Well, it's about taking two different styles of personalities and meshing them together.
Yeah.
A woman will like, and this is for the fellas. A woman
for the fellas.
This is for the fellas right here. A woman will like that you can have a conversation and you can talk about one. Like, there's a saying, to know a little bit about everything than to know everything about one thing.
Yes, definitely.
And that keeps you versatile.
Exactly.
For sure.
Because if you have a conversation with a woman and it gets to a point where you don't know something, it's better to say, "Oh, wow, really?"
Teach me about that than to just block it out and be like,
because mentally what you just did was, it is going to make that woman panties drop, because I'm serious, because a woman feeling like she was able to teach you something is more valuable than you going off talking about how you look. Like I said, the only people that actually appreciate your body is other gym goers, meaning men and women that go to the gym, guys, because they're like, oh, I like that, I want to look like that, and gay guys. Those are the only people that are going to appreciate it more than a woman. A woman likes to look, but that's not what she cares about. When it comes to getting to know her, putting her first, because a lot of women feel like they don't get enough attention. And I think a lot of that is because of the style of conversations we're having. It's not that we're not personally spending enough time, but we're not firing on all cylinders to make certain areas of that brain, that when I read in that neural book, to make them feel like they're getting hit in every aspect. It's got to be more than just a love life and going out to eat. You have to actually build a foundation on structure, on how to. That's why you see couples that last 25 years and more for a long time, because of them building from the ground up. And then you have couples that have been together that long and split. And you're like, you guys have been together since you were kids. How in the world are you guys breaking up? Because you build your house out of hay and not brick.
And I mean, there's you could look and see, as far as you'll have like a Beyonce with a Jay-Z, for example. And I think I can speak for, and ladies, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of ladies would attest to the fact that it's not always the looks of a guy that reads towards attraction. I know something that's really, really crucial in my relationship is that one thing me and my girl, we always talk about is communication. And a lot of things I feel like men struggle with in general is being able to express emotion, just in the sense that, we're born and raised, we're taught to always, you want to look good, you want to have money, and you want to hide your emotion. You want to be the rock for the family. You want to be the strong person. You want to be the one that doesn't fold no matter what. The world could come crumbling down and you're supposed to hold it up by your fingertips. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's extremely difficult sometimes in relationships, and what people don't realize is that you have to communicate those feelings, because where a girl will come to you immediately when a girl sees something wrong with the situation, she will come to you and tell you what she finds wrong with that situation. Whereas a man, he'll say, all right, something's messed up, but I can handle it on my own. So where you might come and say, oh, well, it's whatever, I'll bottle it up, it's cool, we can keep it moving, keep it going. A girl will see that and say, oh, well, why is he not talking to me? Well, why? What's wrong? What's this? What's that? And that leads to a lot of, well, why is she always pestering me? What's wrong? Da-da-da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like that's one of the biggest things, is you have to be able to communicate effectively, not just in your relationships, but whether it's in the business world or whether it's with your friends. You have to be able to be confident enough to speak your mind and say whatever is bothering you or whatever is wrong, or whether you feel you deserve if you feel you deserve a raise at work, you have to be willing to say, I feel like I need a raise. They're not just going to come 9 times out of 10 in today's world. No one's going to come to you and just say, hey, we want to give you more money. If you feel like you're working hard enough and you deserve that raise, you have to go to them and say, I feel like I deserve a raise. Here's why. If there's something wrong in your relationship, you have to say, this is what I feel is wrong. now let's talk about it. Let's grow from that. You know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah,
But you have to come at it at a level-headed standpoint. Let's not forget.
well, yeah,
that, 'cause
absolutely.
Right.
I'm not saying to go. I'm not saying to
to
go and start an argument or to go, and this is wrong and I deserve this and blah blah. I mean, I'm saying come level-headed. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But you have to be willing to come level-headed to begin with. You have to be willing to speak intelligently and have an intelligent conversation to move forward, not just.
Also, with that being said, as people, I'm sorry I cut you off.
That's all right.
Is that a lot of I've noticed men more than women don't like change and transition. You have to know, like, especially when you're at a job, and it's really rough working certain jobs. People, restaurant jobs, things like that. You have to know when to stay and when to leave. You have to know when things are going downhill or not. It's really hard because you always want to take chances on things, but the transition point, and a lot of guys I see at work, they fuss about different changes being made, but some of those changes are for the better. You have to, if you really are thinking about making a career out of whatever you work at and do, and you want to stay there, that's one thing. But at the same time, don't be naive. You know what I'm saying? You have to know when the door opportunity opens to take your chance.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people, and that's for a lot of people. I feel like that's just being comfortable in the comfort zone. You have to be willing to, Bill Gates didn't become Bill Gates because he was comfortable just being in college and writing essays. You know what I mean? You have to be able. It's easy. Well, that's my point exactly. Yes, he did, and he became Bill Gates.
Don't drop out, kids.
But if you have, hey, go to school, right? But if you have a dream, and you want to pursue that dream, you have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. You have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to fly or to jump and hope that you fly. And if you fall, you got to be willing to fall, and if you fall hard, that's cool, but you got to get back up and keep going, though. And that's the biggest thing. People are afraid to fail, and that's something that you cannot do, especially in today's society, because people will.
And that goes to
over
everything too, like literally everything, business. Like you're trying to do your fitness training and all that. Like you can't be afraid to fail on that. Same with like my business as well. And I will admit, there's been tons of times where I had to like, okay, this is not working out. I gotta like step up my game on it. Like I'll come back on it, and I need to do so much more better because failure, it helps you improve as a person.
Failure is the only way to grow.
It's the only way to learn.
Yeah.
It's
Same
not so
with
much
like
failing,
relationships
it's
too,
learning.
because like with those failures, it allows me to get even much better into those relationships. And same goes with like your jobs as well. Like your job is not gonna always work out 100%. There's times where you can be like, well, this job was a failure. I need to move on to a much better job. And that's just daily living towards everything. I was thinking earlier when you were talking about how, like, life works out for all of us. Like, our parents have taught us to do something, and we teaching our kids to do something later on. That's just a circle of life. Lion King right there. But
Shout out Disney.
yeah, Disney. But
Disney program 2016. We out here, we lit.
We out here now. But yeah, like that whole saying right there, the circle of life, it's so deep because that's pretty much how everything works in life. Like you have to learn, you have to fail, you have to continue to do these things so that you can improve as an individual person.
And it goes back, you have to, in order to know what you like, you have to find out what you don't like. And it may take time to find out what you don't like, because there's a difference between tolerating something and just genuinely not liking something. So you have to be able to discern from the two and know whether it's time to just tough it out and push through it, or if it's time to escape and find another plan.
Right.
So.
That's kind of funny. We all got quiet.
It's
Look
raw.
at
It's raw and uncut.
They was like, Brian,
it's raw
it's
and
time to turn
uncut.
the league. You put us somewhere. You've been saying all this stuff.
No,
It's because you leaned back over there. You got a little comfortable, so
Yeah, you did get a little comfortable over there, but no, that's
I'm in my happy place. That's all it is.
Yeah,
happy place.
No, I mean, like I said, life is definitely the hardest challenge, of getting up every day trying to figure out what your next move is, because it gets to a point to where you get stuck and you're not for sure what your next move is. And that's part of, back to what you guys were saying, was part of being a failure, because you don't want to make the wrong decision, but then sometimes you have to make a certain sacrifice. You can't have both. You have to be able to sacrifice something in order for the greater good.
Right.
So whether you choose this or the other, you're going to miss out on something for the time being. That doesn't mean in the long run that it won't be another opportunity for that.
Yeah.
But treat every opportunity like it's your last one. There's some opportunities that I wish I would have never passed up back in the day, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So
you can't regret those. You just learn from them. So.
That also means that it probably wasn't ready for him at the time either.
Exactly.
So I didn't make myself like a fool either. So it is what it is. So
I think I got the title of this first episode already.
What is that?
The Circle of Life.
Shout out.
Yeah. We gotten pretty deep on the first episode. It was actually pretty good.
And that's one thing that I guess maybe just to continue on the subject is you always just got to put your best foot forward.
Yes, definitely.
Whether you're a neuroscientist or a neurosurgeon, whatever it is, I'm not going to pursue that career path. So I don't have to know the correct terminology. But whether you're a neurosurgeon or a garbage man, you either could be the best. Either you're the best garbage man or you're the best neurosurgeon. But either way, as long as you're putting your best foot forward, things will work out. And if there's one piece of advice I can give to any and everyone, whatever you do, give it 110%. It'll always work out. So. That's my word. You feel me?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
where are we at on time? What are we looking at?
I was just gonna say we're right at 31 minutes.
Are we really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Once you get started talking about stuff, it's not that hard to get going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to anyone that hears this, if you got anything that you want our opinion on, 3 young African Americans in the Louisville area. If you want our opinion on it, let us know.
You gotta let them know what kind of African American for the ladies. You got the chocolate.
I'm Wakandan.
Wakanda forever.
You got the light skin.
We got Killmonger. We got T'Challa, and I guess I'll be
M'Baku. Oh gosh. Oh, hold on.
What did the man say? He couldn't even protect his own father.
Yeah.
We will not have it.
I love that movie, man.
It was a great movie.
But, so since we're going to go ahead and give it a close, 30 minutes is actually good for a podcast anyways for our first episode.
Yeah, coming in with, nothing prepared to talk about, really.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Just let it flow, that's the thing about the podcast, guys. There's always something to talk about.
Well, yeah, I'm saying we didn't have anything prepped, so I think,
I think those podcasts are the best podcasts when you don't have anything prepped because you're forced and utilized to use your brain.
Exactly.
And it keeps it raw and uncut.
Let's keep it.
I don't know why I whispered that, but I did.
It's still good, though. It reminded me when you said that, too. Like, a lot of the best speeches come from going unprepared. Like, a lot of times whenever you're prepared, you always make a lot more mistakes. Yeah. And that kind of also reminded me, too, Martin Luther King's speech. Back then, his most famous speech, when he said, "I have a dream," that was actually a raw cut right there. He just, said, you know what? Forget all my notes. I'm just going to go with this.
But the difference is between the great leaders and speakers' speeches and things like that, they're passionate speeches that come from the heart. They're not just something. That doesn't mean guys get on the podium and just start throwing stuff.
Start talking about the sandwich you made
bars.
in the morning.
These are things that are pain.
We don't care about your peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
These are things that are deep down inside that are bothering these guys, that are pain that they have fought and worked hard for, that they actually truly have convinced and believe what they're getting ready to say. So when it comes from the heart, just like when you talk about with your family member, a relationship or anything like that, expressing the word love, I love you, mom and dad, love you, girl, things like that. We mean those things because of the actions that have been shown. And when you've been treated a certain way, like with the Martin Luther King thing, it's so much material that you don't have to say anything. You don't have to. The expressions on their face is kind of more than enough. And being able to translate those in words is probably the easiest thing for him to do, not even to think about it. The hardest thing is probably for him to think about it and actually have a written speech because of the anger that will come out on the penmanship of him. Hopefully it wouldn't break a pen trying to write out the things that have happened to them in the past.
Yeah, and I think that's a great stopping point because we can use that as a segue into our next episode. We can kind of start it off talking about the difference.
Please subscribe.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm just saying, to leave on a little cliffhanger. Our next episode we could kind of start talking about how the difference in how people our age and young African Americans were treated, maybe even as far back as Martin Luther King's time, as opposed to how we're treated now and how maybe we would react in those situations and our opinions on that. So I think that is a great segue to kind of leave a cliffhanger to get people to come back, for the next episode.
All right, you guys need to subscribe. Any comments below, leave them. Anything about fitness, leave the comments, or entrepreneurship comments.
Or you can hit me. I might have some answers for you too.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and throw in your plug-ins.
Throw in your plugs, dog.
Yeah.
Plug time.
I ain't got no plugs like that.
Time. You got a social media.
Yeah,
What's
you got
your
Instagram,
but I ain't got
Snapchat.
stuff together yet.
What's your Instagram name? Look it up and I'll tell you mine. So you can follow me on all of my social media at Crown Prince AJ. That's CROWNPRINCEAJ. Instagram, Twitter. If you can find me on Facebook, you can send it. I might not accept it, but I might accept it.
Hey, he literally sound like your boy. Who was that was doing the Chris Brown cypher?
I don't even remember.
DJ
DJ Envy.
But,
I don't know.
If you can find me on Facebook, send something. I might respond. I might not. I don't know. But Instagram and Twitter, if you hit me up with a follow on there, that's Crown Prince AJ again. I'll pass it to my man Anthony, and I'm signing out.
Okay, so for me, I guess the Instagram is going to be my name, Brian, BRYAN3, and then Marshall, MARSHALL. That's what you're going to find me on Instagram. That's where I'm going to be doing the latest posts, and then I'll hook y'all up with the Facebook and the Snap and all that later. But most of the fitness material is going to be coming off the Instagram. Like I said, I'm going to be leaving meal plans, diet and advice, and switching out intensity as far as workouts. I'm going to hook y'all up, give y'all what y'all want. So,
Well, for me, it's going to be Anthony D. Marsh, ANTHONY, DMARSH.
Yep.
And that's pretty much my Twitter and my Instagram. You can also check out my Facebook page for a lot of my entrepreneur work, which comes with photography and videography. And that's going to be Anthony Marshall Studios. You can also check out my website as well. That's Anthony Marshall Studios as well. If you got any questions or if you want us to talk about any type of topic that can range from politics, sports, entertainment, pop culture, which is pretty much the whole podcast is pop culture. Mm-hmm. But anything that comes up to your mind, if you got any questions individually about any of us, Brian got the fitness stuff, I got the entrepreneur stuff, and then, my boy Aaron got the pop culture stuff. But if you got anything, just go ahead and hit us up on any of those social medias. And we'll leave y'all off with the podcast right here. I think it went pretty well, guys. What did y'all feedback on the first episode? So,
it flowed. I think if there's anything we should title this one, I think I'd call it Raw and Uncut, episode 1.
Okay, I think that'll be good.
Nice little introduction,
Raw and
no
uncut.
Cuts, no filters, raw and uncut.
Cool,
we'll keep it positive. We'll keep it moving, though.
Yeah, definitely.
So
yeah, we could get some photos taken in. Some of them might get posted. We don't know
He
yet.
just want to take his shirt off, y'all.
That's not what it
and
is,
post it
man.
on his
That's why we want to get
And you can follow him on Instagram at Brian3 Marshall.
I don't know what the
If
3
you want to
means.
see him shirtless.
Because I couldn't put my name
I don't want to see him shirtless. But if you want to see him shirtless.
Listen here.
That's the struggle about the usernames and
Ladies,
the social media market these days.
Because I'm taken. But you can follow him or you can follow Anthony.
Yeah, Aaron's taken. Brian's free.
Ain't you?
I don't know just yet.
Anthony's just been in the gym shooting, so
Yeah.
he's been in the gym shooting 3-pointers.
But
anyway,
thanks
for
everybody
tuning in, guys.
Yeah, thank you,
and ladies.
Okay, thank you for everybody for tuning in, and we'll check y'all in the next episode.
Peace.